The current round of fear of human-caused global warming really started in the 1970s. Based on the best available surface data, from 1940 to the mid-1970s, global temperatures had been falling, creating fears of another ice age. Around 1977, temperatures suddenly rose. At that time, the reasons for this sudden increase were not known. Some scientists suggested the cause of the sudden warming was an increase in carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases that came with the Industrial Revolution. The Climate Research Board appointed an ad hoc study group to examine the impact of greenhouse gases on Earth's temperatures. The study group was headed by the noted American meteorologist Jules G. Charney. The report published in 1979 was called the Charney Report. It estimated that, quote, the most probable global warming for a doubling of carbon dioxide to be near 3 degrees Celsius with a probable error of plus or minus 1.5 degrees Celsius, unquote. According to the Charney Report, there are two components to human-caused greenhouse gas warming. The first component is directly from increased carbon dioxide and is estimated from laboratory experiments to be modest. The second component of human-caused global warming is indirect, a positive feedback from increased atmospheric water vapor, and would be far more powerful than the direct warming from carbon dioxide. Since in 1979 there were no comprehensive measurements of atmospheric temperatures, the estimates in the Charney Report could not be confirmed or disproven. But since it proposed that the warming starts in the atmosphere, atmospheric warming trends would have to be more pronounced than surface warming trends because much of the energy from atmospheric warming is lost into space. Unfortunately, there was pressure to take action before we understood the problem. Before a method to measure atmospheric temperatures was developed, which could be used to directly test the greenhouse gas warming hypothesis, international organizations were being mobilized to control greenhouse gases that were guessed, to cause global warming. The international solution was to control carbon dioxide emissions. The conflict among scientists as to adequate testing of the hypothesis became very public, with the involvement of governmental organizations, and the money started to flow. Thus, the resulting conflict is largely political, not scientific, and financed by governments seeking to control carbon dioxide emissions for political reasons. The U.S. government is heavily involved in financing the position that global warming is dangerous and is caused by industry, transportation, and the generation of electricity by carbon-based fuels. At the same time, independent research efforts are producing evidence that call into question the fear of man-made global warming. Two American scientists, Roy Spencer and John Christie, developed a method to finally measure global atmospheric temperatures, needed to confirm the Charney Report. For developing the method to calculate atmospheric temperatures, Spencer and Christie have been awarded NASA's Medal for Exceptional Scientific Achievement. But the data they've collected don't confirm the predicted result. Independent researchers have tested the hypothesis against atmospheric temperature data, now extending over 37 years. The assumptions in the Charney Report are not supported by nature. The failure to find physical evidence supporting the assumptions about global warming is not due to a lack of public funding. Because of the political, not scientific, impact of global warming, the United States alone has spent billions of taxpayer dollars on global warming issues. You can find all the details of our calculations on our website, linked in the description, but from fiscal year 1993 to 2014, total U.S. expenditures on climate change amounted to more than $166 billion in 2012 dollars. By way of comparison, the Congressional Budget Office estimated that the entire Apollo program, from 1962 to 1973 with 17 missions, 7 of them sending men to the moon and returning them, cost $200 billion in 2012 dollars. In other words, we've spent almost as much on global warming as we spent on the Apollo program. And that's just direct government spending, including tax subsidies. It doesn't count the many billions that represent the cost of government regulations or the jobs that are lost. It's time to finally recognize the shaky science global warming stands on and stop spending massive amounts of taxpayer dollars on a highly questionable hypothesis. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up below and hit the links on your right to read the full story on our website and subscribe to our channel. I'm Dr. Stephen J. Allen. Thanks for watching.